All right, everybody. So many of you had so many problems showing your guesswork on that last quiz that I decided to put together this video to walk you through what it should look like. All right, so you can rewind this video, you can pause it, you can play it slow, whatever it takes to get this information down, because you are going to be assessed on this information and being able to use this process. So I've got a problem here or a question that taken straight from your assignment, and we're going to go step by step through the guesswork on this. All right, so the first step in the guesswork is to list your givens. What do I mean by that? So anything that's given information using accepted variable symbols, including your units, and whenever possible, including diagrams. Now in this case, you're given a graph, so the diagram's kind of done for you, quote unquote. So let's see what's going on here. So it says find the average velocity for this object from 0 to 25 seconds. So the fact that it's giving me 0 to 25 seconds tells me, like right away, I know there's a time involved from 0 to 25 seconds. Well, how much time goes by from 0 to 25 seconds? 25 seconds. All right. Now, what else do I need to know? Well, if I'm looking for the velocity, then something else I'm going to need to know on a position time graph is I can tell the change in the position during the course of that 25 seconds. So there's my 0 seconds, there's my 25 seconds. So I need the change in position. What's another way of saying change in position? Let's see, change in position. That is, that's another way of saying displacement, because velocity depends on displacement. Well, how do I find that? I need to find my final position and subtract my initial position. So what does that look like, or how am I going to do that? Well, my final position at 25 seconds, I follow it up here, and I see that at 25 seconds, it was at a position between 20 and 30 seconds. Well, what would that be? That'd be 25, I'm sorry, not 20 and 30 seconds, 20 and 30 meters. Well, smack dab between 20 and 30 would be 25 meters. So at my final time at 25 seconds, I see it's at 25 meters. All right, what about my initial position? Where did that object start? Well, at 0 time, it was at 30 meters. 30 meters. So to find the displacement, I take the final position minus the initial position, and that comes out to 5 meters. And not just 5 meters, but 25 minus 30, that's a negative. That tells me it's going in the negative direction. A couple things I want you to notice here. I used the accepted symbols, T for time, delta X for displacement, X for position. I included my units of meters. All right, just like this says. All right, next, I list my unknown. Well, in this case, what's my unknown? I am looking for the velocity, and it's a vector, so I put that little arrow on top, and to remind me that it's unknown, I put a little question mark. So there's my unknown. Did I use the accepted variable symbol? Yes. All right, were units specified? No, it didn't tell me I needed it in this unit or that unit, so I can skip that one. All right. So now, on to my next step, writing the equation. I look for an equation that includes my givens and my unknowns, and I use the variables that you've been taught in class. This is stuff that should be in your notebook and hopefully eventually on your note card. Well, I need an equation that ties together velocity, displacement, and time. Somewhere in my notes, somewhere on my note card, I should see that velocity is given by the displacement of that object with respect to time. So that's my equation. I used my standard symbols, my accepted symbols. The next step is solve. I need to solve algebraically for the unknown variable without putting in numbers. Well, let's see, my unknown is velocity. I need to solve this equation for velocity. It's already solved, done. So now I can move on to the next step, substitute. So I substitute any of my given values in, including not just the numbers, but also the units. That way I can check for the consistency of unit. In other words, since I'm looking for velocity, are my units units of velocity. So now, this is where I plug in the numbers. What was my displacement? My displacement was -5 meters. How much time did it take to go through that displacement? It took 25 seconds. So I end up with, let's see, -5 over 25. That reduces down to a -1/5 meters per second. Or if I write this in decimal form, that would be a negative, let's see, 1/5, that's a -0.20. I include my units, meters per second. All right, and it's not cooperating with me very well right now, but I would write that as meters per second. And that's my final answer, 0.2 meters per second in negative direction. All right, so again, get used to showing your guesswork anytime you calculate a number answer. And if you still have questions or don't know what to do, come see me in GPS, see me after school for help.